and welcome to another episode of the Spartan Scoop. I am your host, Abby Van Patella, and I am joined today by our newest assistant, Fred Applin, or Coach App, as we call him. Coach App, why don't you give the people a little background about yourself?
Well, I been coaching, started at University of North Carolina with Coach Smith and Randy Will in the JV program there in North Carolina with Coach Hatchell. I've been at Wake Forest and several schools, University of Texas, and most recently at North Carolina Central University as associate head coach.
Awesome. Well, welcome. We are so excited to have you here on this episode, but also as part of our program. So you have been in the coaching game for quite some time, and I know a lot of times, sometimes coaches leave for different reasons. What has kept you in coaching for so long?
I think the one thing coaching is about relationships. I've had great relationships with players and coaches. Worked with a lot of Hall of Fame coaches, and that's been experiencing those, and I think the relationships with the players, to see them develop and then see them, come in as 18-year-olds and then they graduate and they get in their career and they're very successful. So I think it's about the relationships in the sport of basketball and every sport that I've been in contact with that's kept me in this game right here, but seeing the development in the long run.
Absolutely. I think about the various coaches that I had throughout my life and just the mentorship and the impact that they've had on me. Had they chosen to step out of coaching before that, I wouldn't have had that opportunity. And so I think the coaching world needs more people like you, and I think that relationship aspect is really important. What is the biggest change that you've seen in the game throughout your time as a coach?
I think players are getting more athletic. Mm-hmm. They're getting taller. Now you see girls that are 6'7", 6'5", 6'6", point guards that are 6 foot. So I think the development, but the growth of women's basketball as a student athlete, I see that's happening now, but also student athletes to have more opportunities. I think if they don't take advantage of it, that's their problem. It's a big problem among student athletes when you get them as a freshman. They're not used to having all of this. So I think the development, but also the things that are out there for mental health or any issues like that, or just health issues, I think that's something that's changed the game of basketball. And also that three-point line. You got to talk about that. You got to talk about the three-point line. It's moved out, and I think it's going to probably move out again. But they want inside post play to play, so that area is going to be something they're going to talk about.
Right.
You can't forget about the one thing: the 4 quarters.
Yes.
Of basketball. I think that and advancing the basketball up the court
definitely changes the strategy, right, of endgame situations with that. But
I
love that. I love those switch that has happened. I think it's made things a lot more interesting.
I think it's great because of the quarters. I think the players mentally think, hey, I get a break.
Right.
Not even using a timeout. They know, hey, at that end of that quarter, they're going to get a break.
So I want to shift a little bit onto the court in terms of development. So we talk about development off the court, but also on the court. I know you've been a post coach, but you also have worked with all different types of players. What are some ways that you help develop your players on the court?
I've been blessed to work with some great coaches in the college level and also in the WNBA. I had a chance to work with some of the elite athletes. They're Kodak All-Americans, but I think you still got to teach the basics.
Absolutely.
You got to teach the basics and build upon that no matter what you want to do. And I've been blessed to be around these universities where you have guys that are going to NBA, like a Chris Paul, a Kevin Durant. I've been around those guys, and you see them work. They will come in after we practice and want to get in their shots or do it. So you go watch those guys work. I think the biggest one's Tim Duncan at Wake Forest.
Okay.
To see him just work on his footwork every single day. So I would go back and just watch those guys. Or, hey, call them and say, hey, tell me, what did you do in this situation? So I think those things that you got to work on is the little things, the basics, and build upon them. And student athletes like that. But the other part of it is, too, that you get a chance to show them video of these superstars.
Right.
That's the thing, Akeem Olajuwon. I think he was one of the best. I had a chance to really pick his brain when I coached at the University of Houston. But if you bring those things and you study your craft and you talk to other coaches, don't be afraid to talk to other coaches. Hey, what do you do in this situation? My post is not posting up the way you want him to. Yeah. Tell me what you're doing. What drills are you using? So you reach out to your colleagues and say, hey, can we bring that here? And that's something I've done throughout my whole career is sit down with other coaches and say, hey, tell me what you're doing that I'm not used to, or hey, teach me what you're doing.
You touched on it a little bit in terms of watching professional athletes or watching people at high levels. But how else do you use film to help enhance and grow players?
Oh, it's no doubt film. film. You can break down film all day and show it to the student athletes, and they can see themselves. Just saying film doesn't lie.
Absolutely.
And that's been around a long time, and you just sit down with them and show them the positive, the negatives, and you show them the positives. But also show them films of other student athletes at the same position, saying, hey, they're making the same mistakes. You're not the only one. They think, oh, I'm the only one on the court making that mistake.
Right. Not just you.
It's basketball, it's not just them. So you show them other students, but also you come back to it and show them on the court or stop them and film. I love that we have iPhones now. You can get that iPhone out, and I've done it since I've been here. Say, hey, this is what I'm talking about, and they see it. So I think that's something that you have to do with student athletes, is get them in the office and watch more film, but take them on the court and watch film.
Well, we are so excited to have you here and to have you as a part of our program. I know our players are really excited. Every one of our staff members are, and so welcome again. And thank you for hopping on with me for this episode of Spartan Scoop.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.